So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Q&A session of the week. So, let's start with our first question, which is from your cranky neighbor. Your cranky neighbor. I hope you're not my neighbor. I wouldn't want cranky neighbors. So you said, from astrological standpoint, how does the death of a pet affects you? Besides, the depression, and besides, the feeling of sadness and mourning, that astrologically, look where your ascendant lord is in your birth chart. Wherever your ascendant lord is, whatever sign it's sitting in, whatever nakshatra it's sitting in, how other planets are affecting it, that's the result you will get, depending upon exactly where it's placed. Meaning, if you wanted to know in how many days you can see that effect. So let's say if your ascendant lord is in the 10th house, that means within 5 days you will see something significant happen in your life, and from that point onwards, that what happens starts becoming more active. So the ascendant lord and its position will give you certain result. So for example, let's say your ascendant lord is in the 4th house, and obviously that is a Raj Yoga, and it's receiving aspects or conjunction with 5th and 9th lord or 11th lord, then you will see that for 11 days from the moment your pet passes away, there could be attainment of some fixed asset in your life. So this is how you would look at this. Next one is from Faisy Esclape. Interesting observation of all Uttra Nakshatra. So you're talking about Uttra Falguni and Uttra Bhadrapada. So obviously there's like two, and they become a pair of two because one is Purva, the other is Uttra. Purva is the initiation of a certain process. Uttra is when someone goes to a higher accolades of that process and experiences that thing. So for example, if you notice difference between Purva Bhadrapada and Uttra Bhadrapada will be much more calm about dealing with the situations or handling the situation compared to what Purva Bhadrapada will handle. Purva Bhadrapada is the symbolism of a tower burning down, meaning there has to be some form of destruction that happens before a new tower can rise up. So literally, Uttra Bhadrapada represents the activation of like Kundalini. Uttra Bhadrapada represents the work that one will do once they have attained that activation. Meaning, if somebody's Kundalini is awakened, they'll be much more calm. Any situation can happen in the world, and they will look at it in a very calm manner. Where a Purva Bhadrapada, somebody breaks up with such a person, they will, go a little bit mad. They will become quite destructive. So same thing would happen with Purva and Uttra Falguni. Purva Falguni is all about wanting to get something and make that connection now. And Purva Falguni, is actually, it's not a Tiksha Nakshatra. I believe it's a Urga Nakshatra or Tiksha, meaning it can be destructive. Uttra knows that once I have accumulated all the connections and understood, what happens when you become engrossed in lust, when you're engrossed in too much romance, when you're engrossed in too much, connection with people. How do we handle this? Should I handle this? So it becomes that next stage. Then the next question is from Chatreya Fernandez. What does it mean when 3 or more planets are in one house together with the sun? Does it mean that everything in the house will be burned? Actually, it's the quite opposite. We think that those combust 3 or 4 planets. For example, let's say you have 5 planets conjunct. Sun is there, close to everyone, and all of them are combust. It's not that you will deal with things that are burnt down. What it shows is that you're here to burn the karma of those things. That's what it is. Sun is showing that there is something significant and dramatic you need to pay attention to here, because you must burn these karma first. Deal with these karma first before you look at elsewhere, because wherever the sun is, that's where the illumination is. So it's like a flashlight pointing towards one particular thing, or a flashlight, on its own spot, showing everything that is very significant. So it's not like things are going to be burnt out. You actually have to burn those things. You have to actually deal with those particular sections of your life in order for you to kind of accelerate your, spiritual evolution, lifetime after lifetime, I guess. Then the next question is from 10 Teos Tarot. As a beginner in astrology and someone who wants to do this, as well as tarot as a business, how soon should I start reading and charging potential clients for doing birth chart analysis and tarot reading? It all varies. How quickly can you grasp the understanding of these things? How quickly are you confident enough to have somebody sit in front of you and you can tell them something that they will be like, okay, how did this person know this? You have to be able to grab that, one particular gem and show it to them. If you are able to do that, then it could be a week, it could be 10 years. Because it's not like you're coming to astrology and tarot. Most of the time, you're not coming to it first time in your life, especially when you're in 21st century, because you may have been born for probably thousands of years. And what this is showing, that is, for some people, I actually know certain people who just learned houses, signs, and planets. This is what this house represents. This is what this represents. And this is actually one of my students from Maga Vedic Academy. And this is, once I just saw this and I saw charts, everybody, they were astonished that I was able to predict certain things. And this person said I didn't even use nakshatras. And that's what kind of clarified that, this person's actually just coming to just reactivate something in their consciousness where suddenly everything will just be downloaded and they'll be like, yeah, I already know this. And actually this is not only this will represent this too. Third house will represent this as well. And they'll use that just out of accident. It'll be like, yes. So it all depends how confident, how comfortable do you feel? That's all. There's no rule to this, Then the next question is from Gentle Flames. Mars in Scorpio in the 10th house could make a person act like a Scorpio native. Yes, true. Don't go on our sun sign. Wait, Mars in the Scorpio in the 10th house could make a person act like a Scorpio native. Okay, so yes, because you got to understand one thing. People say, well, I'm a Scorpio, I'm an Aries, I'm a Virgo. And it's something that they just have either read since they were born in magazines, newspaper, or now Google. Okay? And that's all we know. It's like somebody just told you 2 + 2 = 4, 2 + 2 = 4, 2 + 2 = 4. Next time you see 2 + 2 = 2 + 2, you'll be like, oh, 4. While that is just a beginning of the deeper ocean of mathematics. You have, fractions. You have calculus. And you have divisions, multiplications, you have, subtractions. So how do we behave is truly not just seen from a sun sign. You can actually look at Mars, because Mars is the energy. It's like we're the Tesla Model S, and the battery inside it is Mars. How fast we go, how good we move, how long we go depends upon, that energy of Mars. Sun, in a way, is the generator as well, But what I would say is, it's not like just that one single thing. You will actually see people who have cluster of planets in a chart, they will have more dominant feature of those planets than any other planet out there. So for example, you will find, let's say, a Virgo ascendant person. As soon as you see a Virgo, or the word Virgo comes into your head, you will be like, oh, it needs to be a beautiful feminine figure, and they have to be skinny, long hair. But when you see this person, they are way overweight, and they have, a strong face, and you're like, I don't think this is your ascendant, and we have to rectify your birth. But you don't understand that their cluster of planets could be in the sign of Cancer, could be in the sign of Leo, giving either those strong dominating feature or a moon-like body, like that plum body. Okay. Then the next question is from Donna Dance. This has been on my mind as I change Mahadasha periods. When you leave one dasha and move to another, do negative things that were bought out in the relevant dasha, health or bad relationship, as an example, also potential to fade away as issues? Or was the relevant dasha just the igniting? What is the result of Vimshotri Rahu Ketu? Okay, so pretty much you're wanting to find out the things that you suffered in one dasha, will they continue in the next dasha? Most of the time, not, because that's what dashas are there for. They're like these different doorways, different rooms. You go into one room and there's no light, okay? There's no amenities in that room, and you're just sitting lost, confused, depressed. But then another door opens, and that door may not have all the luxuries of life, but it just has a one bulb and a nice place to sleep on and a glass of water. Compared to the last one, now this new room is definitely make you feel more uplifted, like, oh, nice change. For some people, they can be in a complete dark room with nothing there. And when they open the room, it has all the 3 Michelin star foods, jewelry hanging out, and a nice lavish bed, sleep number bed. And you've got your, flat screen TV. You're like, wow, welcome to the new room. So yes, dasha will change, bring about new experiences. But again, you could go from one empty room to another depending upon how the other planet is functioning. So if you're going from, let's say, Jupiter to Saturn dasha, if both Jupiter and Saturn are nil of, giving anything significant, then you'll just go from one dark room to just one dimly lit room. So yes, definitely you will see people see changes, on a common basis, that they love one dasha, suddenly now they experience different things. But what the main thing will always change is like how a snake sheds its skin. You're going to shed the skin of that previous planet. So if in Jupiter period you were very hopeful, inspired, and optimistic about everything, in Saturn dasha you become more realistic about things. You accept the world as is. And you simply feel that, instead of me being too optimistic, let me actually just work towards what is achievable. So that is definitely going to change. Whether you have a room with no bulbs and no lights, at least in one dasha, you will be like, okay, let me make a whole, like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. Let me try to get out. So that's what happens. Then the next question is from Zoe Casado. Can you find your soul spouse who you're destined to be with, sun sign in your 12th house? Okay, so let me see. One, can you find your soul spouse you're destined to be with, sun sign in your 12th house? I'm not understanding your question. You're saying that if your sun is in the 12th house, can you find your soul spouse? Well, there is something there in the Lal Kitab, the red book, that does have certain abbreviations of, about married life and about how the marriage will be. Although I don't dive into Lal Kitab too much, because remember, Lal Kitab is like, it pretty much activates, your Mars. So certain people, when you actually study Lal Kitab, it can bring a lot of anger out of you. It can bring, a lot of aggressiveness out of you. So only certain people, should study Lal Kitab, but this is more so of that. But this does not, there has to be a certain conjunction with Sun in the 12th. But this does not, show any path towards finding a soulmate or not. Then Surrendering Bee. What happens when Jupiter and Venus are conjunct in Navamsa Lagna in Pisces Ascendant? So first of all, we need to see if this is a male chart or female chart, because there would be different scenarios. But what we see on a one basic mundane level is that this is actually a conjunction, especially if you said Pisces. One becomes confused. One is lost about how to deal with marriage, relationships, bondage, how to deal with the responsibility of such things. It's like one is expecting too little out of their marriage and partnership, meaning their expectations are so far out that when the reality of marriage comes, that they are not able to withstand and handle that reality of marriage. So, Pisces is that one sign I have seen, no matter what planet is placed in it, it definitely makes a person feels lost about the significance of that particular planet. And Venus and Jupiter, especially Venus in a man's chart, will become the wife, and in a female chart will become, the husband, because of Jupiter. And Venus is naturally the significance of partnership and marriage, regardless of, what your sexual preference is. So here, one will feel lost. And the reason why you feel lost, if you really dig deep into your subconsciousness, you have already paid the karma of being with somebody in one of your previous lives. That whole paying the karma of going through those periods of fights and arguments and sacrifices, you've completed that. So it's showing the completion of that one thing. But because, again, you are embodied into this consciousness, and if, let's say, you don't have the combinations or yogas that represent that, okay, you are going to be much more activated towards, being, let's say, a monastic or going towards a spiritual path, then the person will cling on to that notion of love and marriage and partnership, where these planets are like, our devotion is complete. Now we want to go towards higher devotion. We want to be married to something higher. than just human form. So that's what will happen here. Then Claire Romero, what Jupiter and Hasta in the Hasta ascendant of D9 can indicate for a person? Well, this definitely indicates that once you get married, or as you get older, suddenly you will find great interest in speculative gains, stock market, wanting to play the financial hand. You will also kind of treat your marriage like the stock market. When things go bad, you want to sell it off. When things are good, you want to do more. So these are the people who, when marriage is going well, they will shower their spouse and their marriage with gifts, with, all the fun things. When there's fights, when there's things that are going down, like the stocks going down, they just want to run away and they want to be in a safe environment, be in their own safe space. So that's what Jupiter will do here. Then Tejas Jadhav, please update a new video for the planetary conjunction for finding love for gay, lesbian, and transgender. So, this is interesting because this is something that has to be researched on. And I've been trying to research on, but the problem is, out of the whole year, maybe I'll get 3 or 4 readings of people, most commonly who are either gay or lesbians. I think I've only had one person who was transgender 2 years back. So when I'm looking at a chart, for me, I cannot see why they're this way. There are certain things. With one of the questions that I put in, it kind of segues into that, but research has to be done. Meaning, I have to be able to see 50 charts of, not even 100, just 50 charts of transgenders and see what is that commonality that is occurring in each chart to show that this is why they're transgender or this is why they're gay or lesbians. Because I've seen all kinds of, even with like gay or lesbian, especially gay charts, I thought I had known this one particular placement of Mars, but then I get all kinds of placements of Mars, all type of placements of all the planets just scattered. And the one way to figure this out is, I forgot the name of this particular thing in astrological chart, which tells you which planet, this is actually by Sri Shaddi Iyer, of which the moment you're born, it changes like within every 15 seconds. And so Sri Shaddi Iyer gives all these planets. Like if you're born with the Venus, then you'll be more towards a feminine, female energy, Mars, male energy, and all that. But then there's this one point where it's called Sandhi, where a person is born in duality. And this is something that, yes, I had to calculate it. I had to call some of my astrologer friends, that, hey, can you calculate this for me? Because I don't know how to do this. This is too much work for me. Can you just do it? And because I was trying this, once I read about this technique, I was like trying it. And lo and behold, it was working. And so I've asked the administrator of Parashara Light to add this particular thing in the chart so we can quickly see, is this person on Sandhi male or female? Because of the fact this way you can clearly see. Actually, it's with the ascendant degree. Yes, it's with the ascendant degree that you can see if this is a male chart, female chart, or somebody who might be in between. But yeah, I mean, a lot of research has to be done because even, let's say if you look at transgender, you have to because that's different than just being gay or lesbian. This is a completely new dimension, and we have to see why is dimension there, and also you have to actually know that, okay, if you're transgender, are you looking for a fellow transgender? Are you looking for someone else? So when it comes to relationship reading too, obviously I have to know a lot more, but for me to just tell you what it is that makes this happen, that would be a disservice to you by telling you something I don't know. This has to be researched on. But like I said, I just gave you this one technique by Sri Shaddi Iyer, where the ascendant degree is what tells if it's a chart of a male or female. Okay. Then the next question is from Sachin Singh. How to achieve moksha if we don't have the required planetary placement, 12th house, etc. What does 12th house? Okay, so you want to know, if you don't have planets in the 12th house, what is the yoga for moksha? Well, first of all, who said that you have to have planets in the 12th house to find moksha or spiritual enlightenment? I've seen charts of many yogis that didn't have anything in the 12th house. So that's something you have to let go. And especially when we look at the aspect of moksha, one of the things that I've seen working very well is that 12th house from the Karakamsha Lagna, if it has a benefic sign, which means a sign ruled by a benefic planet like Jupiter or Venus, or if a benefic planet like Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and a waxing moon is aspecting that house, then it shows that this is a person's last birth and they will be going towards a different space. Then there is a technique of looking at the trinal house of your birth chart with the trinal house of the D20 chart. If the same trinal house go into those trinal houses and Jupiter is aspecting or in placement of all three, then it will show that this person is ready to finish their karma. Then obviously, and actually one thing I will say is that, I don't know if that segue of the question is here. Like there was this one person named Method Man asked, can you talk about Dhan Yoga and Raj Yoga in the 8th house? And this is what I said to this question. If you really want to know if your Dhan Yoga and Raj Yoga are there and if they're going to give results, go straight to D12 chart, Dwadasamsa chart. And Dwadasamsa chart is what will show the real, that DNA sample of the person, especially when they're on their last human evolution, and when the wealth comes in, and when all the nice things comes in. And especially in Dwadasamsa chart, the 9th and 12th house connection. 9th and 12th house connection is another thing that can signify that this person can find moksha. But again, if you are, here's the thing about also these combinations and moksha. If let's say you were to see, astrology is not necessarily is about like a planetary vibration affecting us and this is why things are happening. No, you were simply already born with the package. Like Santa Claus has the bag. Your soul was carrying the bag and just waiting to jump from the plane, to go down into the womb. And they said, okay, you have all the yogas, everything that is to happen is in this bag. Now, in order for you to kind of help yourself evolve, we'll send you at this particular time, so somebody who knows about the sky can actually help you progress through your karma. help you with your karma. So you just jump. And you're born. So when you're born, like Sri Yukteswar said, that sky has to be aligned mathematically for you to be born. But the sky is not determining what exactly is happening with you. That's your package already happening. You brought the package with you. It's just that it helps the guru. It helps that particular person who has evolved much, much higher than 1,000 times higher than somebody like me or some other astrologers, to help you clear out your karma so you can ascend to the higher level. And another thing you have to understand about these things is that astrology is based on the prana level, like you and I breathe. Without breathing, we do not have any reason for ego, wealth, money, food, marriage, children. All your desire are summed up in 1 minute and a half. After 1 minute and a half, nothing will matter. Because if you're either forcefully kept your breath forcefully out for a minute and a half, or you did it yourself, your thoughts is not going to be about, I want fame and money and dhan yogas and raj yogas. You'll be like, how do I survive? So when you, let's say, do certain yogas like Kriya yoga, what it does, it takes you from this pranic plane and ascends you to a higher plane, which is then above the level of astrology. This is why you will see that many people who do Kriya yoga, and if you look at their transits, the worst transit or the best transit, it's not affecting them. Their life is above that plane, above that pranic force of astrology and the planets. So this is why they say to do yoga, but of course, not just some simple yoga you will go and find a membership with. I mean, these are the particular yoga that, you have to properly be initiated in. You have to do, at least 7 years minimum of practice, and then you will see that your pranic force is no longer in the same vibration as this. Your pranic, if this is the vibration of prana, you start to ascend here. You start to go up. So now the effects of planets get lighter and lighter and lighter. So this is why all those few yogis and yoginis who are up here, dhan yoga, raj yoga doesn't matter then. If they want something, they manifest it. Then who is this? Tugba Kill says, what is the result of Vargottama, Rahu and Ketu? Same degree for D1 and D9 chart at 15 degrees Scorpio. So here's the thing. Either Vargottama, Rahu and Ketu can make you extremely determined about your life path, about what is it that must be paid off and must be accomplished, or Rahu and Ketu, on the other hand, can also completely confuse a person being Vargottama. And this is something I cannot tell you exactly which point they will make a person confused or make a person feel more determined, because for that we have to see the other planets. What are they functioning with? But I have actually seen Rahu, Ketu, Vargottama in 1-7 degree in birth and Navamsa will either completely just make a person, nostalgic and blank about life, or they will be the overdoers and overachievers in life. Then Chayavi Sharma, what happens to people after they die? Well, my answer is, I'll let you know when that happens. Okay? If you're ready for me to come to you and tell you. Otherwise, you should just watch a video by Sadhguru, what he explains about how the soul lingers for a while, and if it's, untimely death, it finds the closest womb and go. I mean, you'll find much more detail with Sadhguru's video and some of the other yogi videos, for me to just blab out something, it'll be stupidity to the highest of level. Then, and welcome 29. What about Mercury as Dharakarka in Uttara Falguni in Virgo in first house? So yes, I'm not saying that this could be you, but you remember the transgender thing that I was talking about? This is one thing that I have seen is Mercury in Lagna in, especially either Purva Falguni, especially very slightly Uttara Falguni, because you got to understand Mercury actually had a transgender wife. Mercury itself represents Sandhi. It is the Sandhi time. It is the dusk and the dawn, when you don't know if it's sun is going down or sun is coming up. So you don't know, the duality of those things. So this is something actually then relates to that particular question. But at the same time, as a Dharakarka, it definitely shows that your intelligence after marriage will rise exponentially, and especially you will have the sharpest memory after marriage. Marriage will somehow start creating extra neurons in you. That's one thing we can clearly say. Like, for example, some people can completely either lose their intelligence or their intuition after marriage. There are those placements. Like, what happened? Why am I forgetting little things? Well, that's when the chemical process happens of, marriage and horoscopes, which is like a matrix. And also shows Mercury as Dharakarka, the spouse will be very childlike, very youthful. Will be a bit of a prankster as well. And of course, without any malefic impacts on Mercury as a Dharakarka, usually it will show that you will have the most fun being with that person that you will get in your life. So Dharakarka is simply the planet with the lowest degree that represents the spouse in Gemini astrology. Okay. Then the Red King Singh asked, Rahu in the 7,000 Revati Nakshatra. Well, that's exactly my Navamsa question. You feel lost. You don't know how to manage a marriage. Or you will attract a partner who will be in their own oblivion world. Who will feel like, okay, I can be an entrepreneur and make money, and they'll try to do all these things, and they're not bringing anything to contribute to the bill because they're too dissolved in their own, deep water delusion. So that's what at least I have seen. I don't know what the other books or other masters say. Then Bank Study asked, Moon in Lagna in all charts, D1 to D60. Well, this simply, I can say that when a specific planet is in the Lagna of all the divisional charts, meaning you have to definitely, that particular person and that karma is the most important thing before you do anything, which in the moon case shows that there will be a strong karma to receive and pay with the mother. And you will be taking all of the situations in your life based on your emotions, not your logical decisions, but your emotional, intuitive decisions. And based on how how moon is sitting with each sign in each chart, we can see how exactly those emotions will come out. Okay. So guys, this was a pretty long Q&A. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And just look out for my next post on YouTube posts then you guys can put your questions in. Till then, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you can ask me questions and watch all the other videos. And if you want to learn about all this stuff, check out the links here under astrologycares.com, where Maga Vedic Astrology Academy link is, and you can get that, or my KRS vlogs. I actually put KC system videos on my vlogs on my academy. So anyway, see you later. Bye-bye.